Yo, what's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 10. I got to shout out Mama. I got to shout out myself, son. This is 10 episodes down. Is this like a mini milestone?
Woo woo! Of course, it's a mini milestone. What are you talking about?
Don't do that whoop whoop stuff. We black, and you from
the
hood.
You don't have no sound effects.
We black, and you from the hood. No more of that whoop whoop stuff. You from the hood. You're not from the suburbs like your son. You're from the hood.
Oh my God, boy! I tell you, people just make up stuff. Are you talking about me controlling the narrative? You're controlling the narrative.
Are you going to sit up here and say in our introduction that you were not from the hood?
I grew up in South Kansas City. I went to Ruskin High School. Thank you very much. That is suburbs. Ask your brother Leandre. He said that we live south and we were bougie. So Leandre in the building, stand up. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, we're super excited. Again, I'm son. Obviously, we know that that's Mama over there to the right.
Excuse me, you're supposed to say I'm with, and then I say Mama. How you gonna mess up the milestone? I mean, where they do that at? Son, okay. And you're with.
I'm going to continue for the sake of time. Today, we're excited to bring you another great episode. Thank you, everybody that witnessed and watched our last episode honoring C3. That was a great episode. We were able to be extremely vulnerable, and I think it was just a great conversation to just open up and give you guys a sense of a realness. So today, though, we're going to be talking about our 9 to 5s played out. So we're going to be talking about the hustle and bustle, and I already take a little bit of offense because I got a 9 to 5.
Okay, I mean, I got a 9 to 5, but I mean, we got to talk about it.
Well, we're going to be bringing on some special guests. Shout out, our sponsor, Mr. Justo, Alec Apparel. You'll see him after the 30-second countdown, and then we'll have another special guest a little bit later. My boy, Steven Qualls, Mr. QUALLifiedLLC. So I'm excited. Anything else before I get into the countdown, bull?
Yeah, you said we black, so I'm going to do a black one. Gang, gang.
Well, as we said before, the 30-second countdown, today we will be talking about overall our 9 to 5 jobs played out. So we're super excited. We got a special guest, Justo, we're going to be bringing in shortly. But Mama, how you feel about the topic today before we get into it?
No, I think it's a very good topic, very relevant. I know we're talking specifically about corporate America, but you know me, I got to add that little extra. And I think what is more appropriate is for Black people, Black Americans. Is it played for Black Americans? I think we need to add a little bit of that flavor to it. So I'm definitely excited about this topic and can't wait to meet our guests. And let's get to it.
We're going to bring my brother Justo in here, the CEO of Alec Apparel. We're super excited to have him on. Before you say anything, Justo, because there's rules and regulations, and this is my podcast.
This is not your podcast.
Son knows best. It's not about you. It's about me. So I'm gonna just lay down the rules and regulations before you say anything, Justo. Can we get what they say in school, the 5 W's and the H, who, what, where, why, and how? Can we know who you are, what you do, and can we see some merch?
Yes, sir. So my name is Justin Smith, man. I'm the owner of Alec Apparel from St. Louis, Missouri, man. But yeah, man. So what I have here is some of my hats that I have, the little trucker hats.
Yes, sir.
All my hats have the unique style with the fur on there. Also, I have another design I have actually on right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
brand on there.
Fine.
Yeah, so everything I do is unique, and it has the fur. I actually just got these today, which also has fur on there. But yeah, man, that's something about me.
Yeah.
No. Where did the name come from? Your name is Justin Smith. So
can I interrupt that?
Oh my God!
Nobody knows him as Justin Smith. So another rule I'm gonna put down on here. Don't be false advertising. This is not a corporate podcast. Can we get your real name, and then can you again, like Mama said, break down what is Alec and what that means?
Yeah, so they call me. My name is Justin, but they call me Justo. You know what I'm saying? So, Alec means a loner eager to conquer.
Oh,
The way I got that is really just me going through a lot of things just by myself and just overcoming a lot of obstacles, and that's where a loner eager to conquer comes from. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm assuming you got a website.
yep,
I'm sure social media. So do you have like a little bit of bio of where that name come from listed on there? Because you know I'm a woman, so
yeah,
you know we want that emotional side of
yeah.
how things were birthed.
Yeah. So it actually is right above, right by the shop. So you will see where it says about us on my website. And my website is www.alecapparel.co. So yeah, it's on the about us page.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you come up? Excuse me, son.
Well,
You
I was gonna let them know that I was a little late. We dropped down the at alecapparel.co. So I think that's Instagram and that's the website, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Instagram and website. Yep.
Okay, so then do you come up with your own designs or do you kind of collaborate? They come to you in a dream? How does that work?
Yeah, so everything's really come from God. So I can draw my designs, I can use Photoshop on my designs, but everything just comes from God, and yeah, he gives me the ideas and things like that. So I'm
Okay,
grateful. Hmm.
okay.
Well, we ain't gonna take up too much of your time. We wanted to, obviously bring on our sponsor and allow our audience to see and get to know who you are. Obviously, Stowe and more of your brand, how you're really already taking off, but you're going to be going to higher and higher levels. But for the sake of this podcast, though, you being a successful entrepreneur, but also having college experience working towards corporate America, I
Hmm.
want to get your thoughts on this. Are 9 to 5 jobs played out?
I'm not gonna say that they're played out. They can definitely be a resource and useful, especially as an entrepreneur. You know, it's kind of hard to find funding. So, you know, a lot of people say you need good credit, you need this amount of money, but it's not really about the money. You can get the money, and I think that the 9 to 5 is really a good resource and a good tool to provide for that. So, I actually had a 9 to 5, so yeah, I can't knock it at all.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
talking about the 9 to 5 schedule, can you kind of open up on, even though that you're, even though you're not necessarily working a traditional 9 to 5, how many hours do you work on your content, or not your content, the content for your brand, though, your actual brand, the website, everything.
Yeah, that's 24/7, man. It's 24/7. You just gotta keep working, keep thinking about different ideas, and just being creative, using your creative mind and things like that. So that's just a 24-hour thing. You know, I'm always on TikTok, always on Instagram, looking for different ideas. You know, drawing out different designs and things like that. Studying the game, talking to my mentor, things like that. So it's a 24/7 thing. It's always going.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
like you live and breathe that.
Oh
So
yeah.
you talked about the name. How did you come up with starting with hats? I'm assuming you started with hats first.
It's a crazy story. So I actually didn't start with hats. I actually started with hoodies. I actually started with hoodies and sweatpants. So I really just looked something up on. It's a app called the Font. So I looked up a font and just put loner on there, and I put it on the hoodie and things like that. I didn't sell anything at all. No, I didn't have any experience in it. I just jumped into the game and see what I could
Right.
do. And when I didn't get any um, clients or customers, anything like that, it actually motivated me to keep going. So a year later, I was drawing out some designs, praying on things like that, and I actually got an idea from God with the hats. So I got the hats. I had one sample, right? So the sample actually was going crazy on social media. So I actually put the sample on there, and a lot of people was just DM me things like that
Yeah.
about the sample. So yeah, I just went to go all in and bought the bulk order. So after I
That
Yeah.
bought the bulk order, yeah, it was just up from there.
I'm
Well,
familiar.
we now we know you have an evening activity that you have. Justo is very popular out there in St. Louis.
What's her
He
name?
got
What's her name? He said evening
no no
activity.
no no.
What's her
Well,
name?
he has a couple. We like he likes to play. I'm a stay at home guy. He likes to play. I'm a stay at
We,
home guy.
we ain't name
Right.
dropping. We ain't
No,
because
we're not name dropping. We're not gonna put Justo
Oh
out there. We know
man.
he in the streets, but we're not gonna get him. We're not gonna allow him to get ran over. The last question that we want to ask you, while you're here is, what are the benefits of entrepreneurship?
The benefits of entrepreneurship, I would say your freedom for sure. Having
Yeah,
freedom to just do whatever you want, and also just being able to express yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of ways you can make money. People think about it. People on TikTok now just making creative ideas. Is just expressing themselves. So I think that's the
exactly.
main thing about being an entrepreneur and understanding how the world works. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that is another thing. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think those are the main two.
yeah, yeah. Well, go ahead, Mama.
Hold on. We got to talk about the other side of it too. I love that you talked about the benefits, but what has been some of the risks? What are some of the things that have
Uh,
kept you up at night where you just couldn't sleep because it wasn't, going maybe the way you thought it would go?
yeah. For that, I think like everything is a risk. You think about it, everything is really a risk. But with the entrepreneur side, I believe like I think risk management. Man, this is a hard question because it's a lot of risk in it.
Yeah,
One for sure is definitely the bulk orders. Buying all the orders and not getting any sales. That's a big risk.
yeah.
Spending a lot of money on things that doesn't sell, and yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think you,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, I think you kind of hit on it earlier. I know we kind of glossed over it, but you
Mhm.
said when you started with the hoodies, you didn't get no sales. But guess
Any
what?
sales.
You did not let that stop you. And I think that's one of the key for anything that we do, especially in entrepreneurship. You have to
Mhm.
be consistent. If this didn't work, reinvent yourself, try something different, tweak it to
Right.
make it work. And I think you did a wonderful job of doing that. And I salute you. And
Thank you. I
yeah, I'm,
appreciate
I'm,
it.
I'm at to get me some apparel. I'm in Tampa, so I only probably get to wear it for like 3 or 4 months.
Uh,
we're
yeah.
gonna get her decked out in the Alec Apparel, but thank you, Stowe, for coming on.
Thank you. I appreciate
One
that.
just one half of our special guest for tonight, but definitely appreciate my brother coming out here, man, and giving us some free game and some jewels. And then of course, we gotta let him get back to the ladies. So, thank you,
I
thank you,
appreciate
Stowe. You go ahead and hop off, what I'm saying, and I'm gonna catch you later on the matter.
All
All right,
right.
man.
Take
Thank you for
care.
having me,
Yeah.
man. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Stowe. All right, Stowe.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.
Yeah. Well,
That
we
was
got
really
another special
good.
guest. That was really good. That was really good. My mom decides to go off script all the time. We have questions that I send out that I work hard to organize and get things done. And we have a plan, but she doesn't follow it. So, it says mama knows best, sort of, but I think we need a what my team and I has been thinking lately that this
Team.
podcast. No,
Hold on, hold on.
no. You hold on. Oh,
The
you hold on.
team. I'm the
No.
team.
You are not the team. You just show up. You don't do
What
anything.
the
You don't do anything. We just swipe your credit card when needed. You don't do anything.
so
So
that 9 to 5. You hear that? That 9 to 5.
right, hey, what my team and I decided that this podcast might be renamed Son Knows Best, sorta.
I
That's
wish
what I'm thinking.
I wish I would. I wish I would. I wish I would.
But we're gonna stay on topic, man. We got a great guest coming on, man. Super excited to get my big bro Steven Qualls. Just giving a little background. We're gonna have him come on and give his background. But why we wanted him for the show tonight is he works for the university. At least the last time I checked. But he worked for Missouri.
He better have a
Yeah.
job.
Well, this is not your. Again, he may think not a files are played out. We'll have to wait and see. But he works for the University of Missouri, my alma mater, and then also he has like 3 or 4 different the hustles. I mean, he got like 3 or 4 different podcasts that's popping. I'm jealous because I'm like, I see one podcast is popping, then he uploads here, then he uploads there, and he everywhere. So we're gonna bring up Mr. Qualls, man, and the ladies don't get too excited. Don't get too excited.
Man,
Qualls, man, go ahead. Hey, hold on. And before you get on here, like I told Justo, there are rules and regulations for this
Listen,
podcast. So when you come on here, treat this like you treating your job, okay? But when we ask you a question, you answer it. Don't go off and think you're gonna do your own
Who do
thing.
you think he is?
so what? So no off script. I can't go off script. I just,
No, you can go. No, Mama knows best, so you can
okay.
go off script.
I just wanted my chance to be big bro for once. He's my big brother, and I got excited. My chest got puffed up. But Steven, can you tell us who you are, what you do, some of your side hustles?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven Qualls II. Like Christian mentioned, I do work for the University of Missouri. So, Mama, I do have a job. I get it. I get more into it. But I do have a job. Happily have one. But yes, I work at the medical school there. But on the side, I do run Qualified LLC. I'm actually working on changing the name to Qualified Media House, but we might get into that a little bit later as well. But like Christian mentioned, multiple podcasts. I just have a lot of different interests. So I try to cater to those audiences as much as I can, because I actually enjoy creating content and talking about the things that are going on. So yeah, it's a little bit about what I do and what I got going on.
So it sounds like you a jack of all trades.
I try to be. I don't know. My mama
Right.
said always have options, so I just try to keep some options myself.
All right, so I'm assuming, excuse me. So I'm assuming the name of what you're rocking with is a play off your last name, right?
It is. Absolutely.
Aha! See, I caught that.
Yeah.
So you interrupted me to ask an obvious question. So to go back on script, can we ask you what we've been asking Justo and wanted to get your opinions? Do you believe 9-to-5 jobs are played out, Steven?
Played out is tough. I don't know. Like, you got to make ends meet. So like jobs are necessary in that sense, and because entrepreneurship comes with so much risk, unless you're in a place where you can comfortably take on some of those risks and some of those losses, like, that's great. But I know I'm not that way. And I know at a certain point, my mama ain't finna help me no more. And I don't want her help. You know what I'm saying? So to a certain degree, like, I wouldn't say they're played out, because sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do till you can, do what you want to do. But I think the business of corporate life and how 9-to-5s are structured and kind of like how they pigeonhole a lot of people, I think the aspect of that is played out in a society where clearly there's a lot of opportunities to do things your way and be successful. So I say it's hard to say played out, but there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. It's definitely a lot of pros and cons. And obviously, with you working for university, that's definitely a corporate high level benefit job. Do you believe that taking a corporate job was a mistake because of the things that you're trying to do on the side?
I wouldn't call it a mistake, because I don't think I would be able to comfortably call any job a mistake, but I probably would have chose a little bit of a different route in terms of trying to figure out other ways to make income. I think I got into, corporate or higher ed. I feel like they're adjacent, but I got into that field because that's what my degree was in. And so it was somewhat of an easy transition to do so. But it's not really the most fulfilling work. So I would prefer it not to feel like I'm trying to make ends meet. I would like to, enjoy what I'm doing on a daily basis. So I wouldn't call it a mistake. I probably would have just tried to reroute some of the jobs I did take and maybe find some with a little bit more freedom and flexibility than sometimes, the corporate or higher education world gives you.
Right. Now, no, I think you brought out some really good points, because remember, the Bible said a man don't work, don't eat. So, so you better have a job,
Right.
So you believe in God on this episode? Because last episode, I almost fell out after the recording. Like, man, is my mama going to heaven or hell? So I be like, so I'm glad that you believe in God this episode. I guess prayers do work. Some people question it, but go ahead.
Can we get back on script?
Sorry,
I'm a born again Christian. Every day there's new mercies. Okay.
Yeah, you've been born again a lot of times.
One thing that you said is fulfilling. So I just want to get actually both of you all's opinion on this, son versus Steven. Probably a couple of years ago, I was talking to a guy, and he was saying his grandfather back in their generations, you worked. It wasn't about passion. It wasn't about fulfillment. As a man, you went out there, you had a job, you took care of your family. Now, this kind of new age, new generation, it is more based on fulfillment. Oh, I don't want to feel like it's work. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, is one better than the other? Is it more, I'm just, because, you get kind of torn because you want to do stuff that you love to do, but then as a man, you got to take care of your family. So I just want to get both of y'all thoughts on that.
Go ahead, Steven.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting because in the last couple of years or so, me and my mom have had that exact conversation where, from her generation, it's very much you just work. You figure out a way to make sure that you can take care of things, and if you happen to like it, that's great. But that's not the first priority. And we talk about how in our generation it's just a little bit different for a multitude of reasons, but I think it does mean a lot for us to be happy. And I know for me, I think that stems from seeing how hard like my parents and grandparents did work. And I don't think that was fair to them. So I don't necessarily want that for myself. And although sometimes the conversation can get tough, I know my mom wants me to be happy. My mom also doesn't want me to struggle. So that's the fine line that you have to kind of walk. So.
Oh no, did we lose it?
Yeah, he broke up for a little bit, which ain't no big deal. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, that of course that was my mom calling me.
Yeah.
So yeah. But,
hey, mama knows best.
Mom in the building, stand up.
Sorta. Sometimes she don't like that. It's getting to the point of sometimes, and not all the time. But that's okay.
Right.
But I think that's why the passion, at least for me, is important. I think a lot of people in our generation probably will feel the same way for somewhat of similar reasons. There's some others out there also, but I know that's my reason.
No, I love that. I love that answer.
Yeah, no, I agree. I kind of like what Steven kind of piggybacking off of him. I think it's a double-edged sword, or I think it's multi-layered. That'll probably be a better way to put it, where it's like, to be a man, I feel like a man has to be a provider. So in certain situations, you got to sometimes just get the job done. That's just part of being a man, but it's also just part of being an adult. And so for me, a man that cannot, make ends meet or be a provider, in my opinion, he's just not a man. And so for me, and then you also have to be cognizant. Sometimes the window of opportunity isn't necessarily available yet, or where you're trying to get to, you have to sometimes take sideway paths, or you loop around, or maybe you went over the opportunity or that calling, you have to go back to it. Not everyone has just a linear pathway to where they're going to end up being. So in the midst of that, you still have to be like, okay, this is where I want to end up going. In the meantime, let me have this 9-to-5 job, or this opportunity that's going to pay bills, right? Because it may be overnight, right? Job, or a couple of like little part-time jobs that, turn into a 9-to-5 that I had to take advantage of, because right now that window hasn't been opened up for whatever reason. And so I think that, it can be hard, like Steven was saying as well, but just also like in the meantime, though, if you're going to be a man, and let's say you have a family, especially, you have to make ends meet. Right. So, it's part of being a man.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, let me keep us on what you say, Christian, on script. So, is it so a person that's working their 9-to-5, do you feel like, what I think we kind of already answered, necessary to have side hustles?
I think it depends on the 9-to-5. I think side hustles can be necessary, but that also depends on what the dream is, as well. Some people have a 9-to-5 that they're perfectly content with just being, like the thing that takes care of business, like the foundational income for them. And their side hustle is their real dream and passion, but it balances out perfectly depending on how their, life is structured. Sometimes it's out of necessity because you need the extra funds to still be able to take care of the basic bills. So kind of depends on the situation. But I think if you have something that you're passionate about and that you want to do, whether it be a dream to start a business or whether it be a dream to become skilled in this art or whatever the case may be, I definitely think, I wouldn't call it necessary, but I definitely wouldn't shy away from taking any opportunities just because you have a 9-to-5. So I think that's an interesting relationship as well. But I definitely wouldn't let your 9-to-5 get in the way of anything that you consider a dream that can be a side hustle to that, your full-time job.
Absolutely. And again, I guess now I'm hearing a lot of financial gurus in regards to having multiple streams of income. So I know we're calling it side hustles, but just having it, because what if something happened to the 9 to 5, as we see, what was it, just back in 2020, we got hit with COVID. You just never know what may come up or pop up. But if we got money coming in here, we still got the money flowing, and then of course doing our due diligence to save, but that's a different podcast. But okay, anyway, Christian, I don't know if you had anything you want to add to that.
The last thing, he definitely hit it. I think it's important for side hustles to be there. You want to have multiple streams of income. So I think for me, that's just an obvious answer for me. Yes. But the last thing I kind of want to ask Steven, because you've been great to ask multiple questions, but to bring it into what you said on one of the first questions that we asked, or your introduction, you talking about being, in a sense, almost like a media mogul. And actually, funny you said that, or you kind of hinted at that. I was going to put welcome media mogul at QUALLifiedLLC, but I was like, well, that doesn't really make sense from a grammatical standpoint. So I just put welcome CEO of QUALLifiedLLC, but kind of, if you feel comfortable, maybe dive into what you're trying to do in the media world, as far as your different podcasts or your different platforms that you have already launched and that have already had extreme level of success.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's such a crazy question given the timing of it. Like entering this year, I knew I wanted to keep going bigger. So when I started, it just started out with storytelling. Like Qualified was all about storytelling because I felt like I had a story in regards to not being able to take advantage of opportunity because other people made the decision for me. And mine was sports related, but I feel like a lot of people, whether you be creatives, even if you're in a specific industry, a lot of people deal with other people making decisions for them, like deciding they don't get this opportunity within a job or they don't get this experience to be able to, move up the ranks or whatever the case may be. So that's really how it started. But I think the idea of like really getting into media, and I don't know if I see myself as a media mogul, but I mean, I do.
Speak it. Go on and speak it.
if it's a media mogul, then so be it. But I think my dream for, Qualified LLC is my dream, but my dream for it hasn't been for it to be a platform for me. That's kind of how it's had to been starting out because, my audience is its audience, but I definitely want to grow it to be where other people are able to storytell and exemplify some of the same things that I feel like I stand for, but it's just through a different lens and their experiences and their perspective. But at the end of the day, it's still about, getting through and persevering through all obstacles to achieve what you want to achieve. So outside of it being an idea of building that platform and that being the focus as of now, trying to build out and have different shows on top of the ones that already exist, I think the ones that I am a part of currently, I just really enjoy doing it. Like I enjoy my one-on-one conversations with people where I allow them to like really tell their story and their narrative. I feel like telling your story, from your point of view is so important because somebody else is always creating a story about you, or the world is always creating a story about you, but it's not you, so love having those conversations. I'm a sports fanatic. Kristen knows this. We barely agree on anything when it comes to
right.
But,
right.
I enjoy talking about sports. So I have a sports podcast where I'm able to just really dive into that, and that's fun. And Christian, actually, this is somewhat breaking news, but I'll actually be having a new co-host for the other podcast, Just Checking In, and it's going to be Donald. So
what?
So
Gillum. So Donald. So people that are watching, Donald Gillum led Mizzou Black Men's Initiative Program. It was an initiative program for freshmen and sophomores, especially that were successful Black men on campus and needed just a cohort, like almost like a well, I'm not gonna say fraternity because we do have an alpha man on the podcast, and I don't want no smoke, Steven. Please, I don't want no smoke with the alphas. So it wasn't that fraternity, but it was a fraternity that did breed a lot of alphas. By the way, I don't know if that's a conspiracy theory. I was told I wasn't good enough to be an alpha by Mr. Qualls and Mr. Gillum. You know, even though I was a legacy,
Listen, he was the legacy.
they saw my application. They said, "Nigga, please."
Rejected.
Denied. No, right, but no, that's Donald though, man. So I just wanted to give a background on who Donald might be. He's super dope, and yeah, he's cool. So that's why we laugh. So go, my bad, Steve. I probably took you off the track.
No, you good, man. But like my relationship with Donald is like he's a mentor of mine for sure, as he is to a lot of like African American
for me included, for sure. Yeah.
So, but the conversations we've had off screen, like I went to him a lot about, you know, things that have happened in my life, and vice versa for him as well. So we just really have a close connection in that sense. And the purpose of that podcast has always been to just check in with your homies, just check in with your people. So that's something that everybody, you know, says, and I'm sure people do, but I really want to bring that to life. And I feel like as much as I love doing it with the previous co-host, who was another like really, really good friend of mine, somebody who I also consider a brother, I think that like what me and Donald are going to do in a direction, we're going to be able to take some of the conversations. It's going to be fun. So it's just kind of fun for me doing those projects, but honestly I would love to get to a point where I don't have to be on anything, and Qualified is really just showcasing other people doing storytelling and having initiatives where it's just a platform at that point, and I can really be more behind the scenes. That's what I really prefer. But, you know, be in the grassroots stages, so I guess I got to.
Well, I will say this, though. I appreciate, you know, the new podcast that you're releasing, but, you know, full disclosure, I've seen this guy, you know, interview, you know, some of the big wigs in media. I mean, he's interviewing boxers, he's interviewing media personnel that works on the Kansas City TV stations. I mean, he's interviewing everybody, and I know I'm a little bro, but I mean, you know, excuse my language, but I'm pissed off that I haven't been invited to do. Can I get a biopic? Can I get a biocast?
So he wants a rejected, denied person who couldn't make the Alpha fraternity on his podcast.
Look, I'm cooking up something.
He had an Hispanic on his platform. I know he's not no Alpha. You better not pull that card. I know he's not an Alpha.
I'm working on something special, man. I got a couple of different series coming up after season of Qualified TV, and so look, man, I ain't gonna just bring you on just to bring you on. It's gonna be for a purpose, for a reason. So it's coming. I got a launch list.
Your purpose that you ain't relevant yet.
But I will share my thoughts on the interviews. I thought Justo was great. I thought hearing both of those perspectives were awesome. Absolutely. But to go back to the main question, I personally don't think 9-to-5 jobs are played out, and I think secretly being an entrepreneur is a little bit harder because you're probably working 10, 12, 14 hours, because even if you have success, you think about that and it's your baby. Anybody that has their own entity or what they created, they think about that all day, every day. They working it, they hustling to it. And so I think that, you know, I think 9-to-5 jobs are a great start, but I think you have to have another piece going with it. So that's my closing statement, boy.
I mean, I guess we just really have to. I think what I've learned through both of the guests that we had, who were awesome guests, is use your 9-to-5 as a tool. Right. And just kind of giving a little bit of history, because I am in my 40s, you in your 20s. You know, Black Americans, we were entrepreneurs. I mean, if you think about it, because we wasn't welcome in corporate America, we wasn't good enough. So we had our own Black Wall Street. We had our own hospital, doctors, and all that. It's when we became welcomed, is when we abandoned that entrepreneurial spirit, for a lack of a better word, and started getting corporate jobs. Now, as Steven has said in his last one of the questions that we asked, he's not being fulfilled. So it's like, now we know there is so much more to us, because a lot of times in corporate America, we do sometimes have to work harder. We have to work harder than the people that don't look like us. We're not getting the accolades. If you think about the Fortune 500 companies, it's maybe a small percentage of Black people that are in those leadership positions. So again, I'm working a 9-to-5. So, and it pays the bills. Like you said earlier with the team, you swiping my credit card, that credit card didn't get declined like your Alpha application. You know what I'm saying? So it works.
Right.
So you use it as a tool.
Right.
And if there are other dreams and aspects that you can work on, I would say go for that. You know, work what works best for you and your family. So I'm with it. This was a great episode. Never met the two prior. Lovely, I guess I can't say lovely guest, bomb information, very informative, and I learned a lot.
Son knows best. Sorta. Bye.
Bye.